My first video in winter gardening is to make these little jars kind of pretty to use for my cuttings to make more plants. So I decided that I was going to use the Fairy Tale Florals transfer from IOD, and I was going to just put a little transfer on each one of these jars to make them so they look really pretty on the windowsill as I root some cuttings in them. So the first thing I did was super wash these jars in really, really hot soapy water to get the labels off and anything else. And after they were dry from that procedure, I went ahead and I am now wiping them with denatured alcohol and trying really hard not to put any fingerprints on them before I adhere the transfers. So it's just the denatured alcohol dries really quickly and dissipates into the air, and you don't have to worry about it. It's not a super strong smell. You can do it in just a couple minutes. And now it's time to put on the transfers. I really like the fairy tale florals. They're small, there's lots of them. It's a smaller size transfer, and you can cut them and just make them fit your project. So I'm going to cut this little blue one because most of my apartment that I am refurbishing is blue and off-white. So I'm going to use blue on all three of my little jars. And you'll see I just put the jar right up against the transfer to see how much of it I need. The transfers adhere to glass like nothing. It's super, super easy. And I'm not going to go ahead and put these in water, so I know they're going to be just fine. I'm not going to try to wash them. They're just going to be used for cuttings, kind of like I'll use them every year for different cuttings. I like to make cuttings of my house plants in the winter, and it's a great way to trim them and keep them healthy. And then when I have a spring show, I just bring little plants and I sell them, and it's a win-win. So you can see it's super easy to just line these up and just burnish them on. Now, what the denatured alcohol did was it took off any residue of soap or anything else that might have been left that would have caused the transfer not to adhere fully. So that's why I always use denatured alcohol if I'm putting a transfer on a window, on a jar, on anything that's glass, or even on a mirror. So here they are, all set, super easy. Burnish them down, rub it in really well, and they're all set to put my little cuttings inside these jars. The other thing about these using jars like this is everyone has little pieces of transfers, and you can just put transfers on jars that you store. Maybe you store your buttons in, but they're the perfect little decoration for using jars as storage. And here is the last one of the three that I am doing for these cuttings. I basically only have room for three little jars on my windowsill because I have so many plants. And there's the little tiny one, and there's all three of them. They're so cute, and they add such a nice little touch to the windowsill, especially they're in a window, and when the sun comes through, it's just really a nice feeling for a cold winter. Thanks for watching my little gardening video, and next video is a journal to keep track of all of our winter gardening.